So this wasn't prepared. I was just going on the mile walk on episode 7 with her husband, and he, welcomed her to come on for episode 8. Now, usually I have like an index card with a topic, but for you, I'm gonna donate the $26.20 for you coming on,
okay.
And we can talk about you grew up with mental illness in your household?
Yeah, correct. So I believe I was about 6 when my mother was diagnosed, and my mom was a single parent of me and my sister, and she somehow was able to manage her schizophrenia, her diagnosis, her meds, and take care of my sister and I. But she started showing signs of being paranoid, and I don't know if you even want to put this on film, but I can tell you some of like the episodes and like situations that she had.
Yeah.
So I remember coming home one night from school, or one afternoon from school. I was probably about, maybe 12 or 13, and I remember my mom was sitting in the kitchen with this giant butcher knife to her head.
Wow.
And she was chopping off her hair, and she wasn't there. It was almost like she was looking through you, and she wouldn't respond to me. She wasn't suicidal, but after this episode happened, I stayed with her in the hospital, in the psych hospital, for as long as I could, and I talked to her and I asked her what she was doing, and she just kept saying if she didn't cut herself, she didn't cut her hair, a black man would come in and rape her family.
Wow.
So she said that she would hear these voices that would keep telling her that, and it would just keep playing over in her head until she did something. Nobody ever sat down and even talked openly about it, and even still to this day, my family has such a strong stigma against schizophrenia. They don't even want to talk about it or admit to the fact that my mom has it. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so
because you think a family with it would be almost like no stigma.
Yeah.
But it's the opposite. You find it's even stronger in your family.
So my family, they tried to keep it quiet. Like even to this day, I have a Facebook account, and if I post anything online, my family gets upset with me. I'm sure if they saw this video, they'd be upset with me.
Oh, shoot.
But, I'm okay with it. I am.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to fight against that.
Okay.
I'm probably the only one in my family that's okay and open about everything, because I love my mom. My mom's one of my heroes. My husband and my mom are the 2 most important people in my life next to my kids. But they're the reason I do everything that I do. And I just feel like we owe these people so much more than what they have. And
this is fighting for your mom, not against her.
Yeah, and my family doesn't understand that. So I don't fault them for that. But it's still frustrating, and it's not helping the cause at all. And they don't see that side, but how much the stigma against mental illness can impede on their diagnoses, their progression, everything.
So why don't you think they see that? What would their probable response be to why they don't like to talk about it?
I think they're ashamed of it. I think they're ashamed. And I don't understand why they'd be ashamed of it. I really don't.
Well, I could see one reason, which is because it was such a negative part. Maybe I'm assuming it was such a negative part of the family that it's like optimists and pessimists. Like maybe they just view themselves as optimists because they don't want to focus on a negative part of the family.
Yeah, true.
But I also don't think you can toss things under the rug.
No, and I feel like that's what they want to do, and they want to hide their heads in the sand, and they don't want to admit to the fact that we have problems, but if you don't, you can't fix them. You can't get the help you need.
Yeah, you have to address your problems head on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's one thing if you want to focus on positive stuff, but it's another if you're just blatantly ignoring a negative thing that's holding you back.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's almost like there's a lack of faith because we don't know enough, But that's why we need to fundraise for brain research, to learn more.
Yeah.
Because knowledge is power.
Yeah, I agree. And he's actually writing a book on schizophrenia right now, too.
Wow.
Yeah. Did he talk to you about that at all?
No.
Yeah, so it's called Schizophrenia, the Facts, and it's for family members that are suffering, or not family members that are suffering, but family members of people that are suffering with schizophrenia.
I see.
And it describes the disorder, and it's really a book that I wish I had growing up, you know, because I knew nothing. I was so young, and nobody explained it, and my family didn't want to admit to it, and it's just frustrating. He had me read it because he's like, I want the family members to read this, and I want them to understand. So he broke it down and put it in layman's terms, and
yeah,
it's a really good book so far. I love it, but I can't wait till it comes out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much at a mile, so I'm gonna call it there.
Okay.
As part of this, I dedicate mile 8 to the guest.
Oh, awesome.
And your mother.
Thank
She'll
you.
be part
Thank
of
you so
it.
much.
You got it.
Sorry, I'm all sweaty.
The last question is, what do you do for your mental health?
Ooh, I exercise. I talk to my husband mostly if I have any issues. And I see a psychiatrist myself,
Okay.
just to stay on top of it because I'm always concerned that there might be a chance that something will be going on. So.
And for my viewers back home, stay sharp.
To take you